Hello, blessed people. Thank you and welcome once again. It's exactly 3 years of NSAS protests that took place in Nigeria, Lekki Toges to be precise, 2020, 28th of October. My people, coalition holds memorial for NSAS victims in Abuja, demands release of detained protesters, implementation of panel report. My fellow country people, is quite long. This is 3 years of protests and massacre that took place in Lekki Toll Gate, and a lot have been detained just because of this. The nationwide protest had been held to demand for good governance and the police brutality, impunity, abuse of power, and total disregard of rule of law by Nigerian authorities. Coalition of NSAS united in the Federal Capital Territory known as FCT Abuja and the Take It Back movement has called for the immediate release of the detained young Nigerians who took part in the October 2020 protest tagged NSAS. Well, the nationwide protest has been held to demand for good governance and the police brutality, impunity above all, abuse of power, and total disregard of rule of law by the Nigerian police and Nigerian authorities. The coalition made this known at a press conference on Friday in Abuja to mark the 3 years the remembrance for over 100 victims who were killed at Lekki Tollgate in Lagos on October 20th, 2020. In a statement jointly signed by the conveners, Galat, Kichi, Ajana, Robert Ande, and Emmanuel Larry, the coalition also called the implementation of all the recommendations made by the various panels across the country. The statement described the continued detention of the protesters 3 years after without trial as clear and gross violation of the fundamental rights and the contempt for due process of law. The statement read in parts, we called on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to therefore effect immediate implementations of the following recommendations to ameliorate the pains and the drama of these victims and their families, starting with the burial of over 100 dead bodies in Lagos State and Abuja. We therefore demand also that October 20th should be set as Natural Day to honor these heroes who paid the supreme price in advancing our policing system. The federal government of Nigeria also must urgently, for the matter of fact, correct this inhuman behavior and end police impunity, including by giving clear directives to the police not to violate human rights. Alright, my fellow country people, on this matter, those suspected of violating human rights should, for the matter of fact, be brought to justice in fair trials and without recourse to the death penalty. On this note, genuine reforms must be initiated to end widespread human rights violations by the police. Nigeria has an obligation to also ensure that torture and other ill treatment are not carried out under any circumstances. Our investigation today showed that the Nigerian authorities utter denied for human rights 3 years in detention without trial is a travesty of justice. This is a clear indication that the authorities' contempt for due process of law. We are calling this day being on marked 20th October 2020 in memory of our loved ones and the authorities of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to ensure the release of these protesters unconditionally. By our records, the following citizens are still in custody. This is 3 years for crying out loud. And Daniel Joy Iwo, Sojok Idekwan, Sunday Okoro, and many other inmates that have been held in Kirikiri. Olumade, not forgotten Fata, Oluwala Isa, Shehu Anas, Akiniran Oyotaken, and many more arrested in Lagos in 2022 have been attributarily and are being arbitrarily held in Kirikiri Medium Correctional Center. My fellow country people, 3 years after the violent expression of world and nationwide NSAS protest against the police brutality, at least 30 protesters arrested in 2022 are still being arbitrarily detained, the majority of them without trial in Kirikiri Medium Correctional Center here in Lagos State and Ikoyi Medium Security Correctional Center in Lagos. All where the Nigerian authorities have filed trumped up charges, including theft, as in possession of unlawful firearms and murder against many of the protesters. Some of those detained allege that they have been subjected to torture. Well, this is a clear indication that the Nigeria police force and the federal government in general have not changed in their impunity in human ways against the citizens of our country, of our nation. Okay, the statement added that the protesters had also been subjected to torture and other ill treatment while in detention since 2020. This is just 3 years now, since 2022. Okay, that was on 2020. Well, the truth has been that one of the pathetic killings here in Abuja was a young Jambite with a very promising future by name Uche DK, a 17-year-old boy, which is a killing was one out of many as the police were carrying out all those killed, which led to a lot of missing persons. We were able to say Uche because he ran out of the police reach after he was shot. Okay, attempt was made to save his life, but before they could get to the hospital, he has already given up. Other victims include Iliwu Shedu Abana, who up till now still carried and lived with police bullet in his leg. We also have Oluwatosin Olamide, okay, Olademije, okay, and one of the victims suffered amputation due to gunshot injury and many others. My fellow country people, judicial panel were set up after denials by the Buhari regime. At the end of the panel setting in, or the state, including the FCT, the panel set up by the government indicated that the Buhari regime and his security agencies, which include the Nigeria Police Force, Nigeria Military, and so many other forces. Meanwhile, despite consistent claims of carrying out comprehensive police reforms in the aftermath of harsh NSAS protest, Nigerian police continue to routinely commit violations of human rights, including extraditional killings, harassment, arbitrary detention, and extortion, with almost absolute impunity. Onto these many charges that followed the NSAS protests are fast disappearing as the police brutality is again becoming a daily part of life for people across Nigeria. The recent case of extradition killing and extortion shows that the police are not ready to even conduct their duties in the compliance with international human rights standard. reforming the Nigerian police force will continue to be a distant dream if impunity, of course, remains part of policing operation. My fellow country people, a lot have really said about this because it is no longer news so far that this brutality will not stop as long as this is concerned, because I have not seen any atom of change as long as police is concerned in Nigeria, apart from Amiola Badmus, who retorted immediately. She was announced dead. Okay, here is a lucky victim whose name is unknown to anyone to date, but out of 77 claimed. Okay, a lot of Nigerians have related to this because we have to say our mind as long as this is concerned. Participating in Nigeria fraudulent election and the glamoring for one Nigeria is still dead. The protesters need to be imprisoned too. Okay, many have said that the souls of the policemen brutally murdered by hoodlums find rest. May God console their children and wives. May those whose shops and properties were looted by the hoodlums find strength and support to rise again. May God heal them from depression. It is exactly 3 years today. Well, my fellow country people, I don't know where you're getting this piece of information. As it stands now, this is 3 years in the history of Nigeria that Nigerians youth gathered to protest against police brutality, and a lot of Nigerians have said that it's like it was. Seems that it was this incident that they likely used to overthrow Buhari, and now people have really said that this is not just to overthrow Buhari, because it seems so as at that time. I see no reason why government will keep detaining citizens that we are out to express their right. When it comes to answers and the thing that happened that time, it was so crazy. And the plan has failed so far. Answers was planned to stop President Asuwaju, but God overcome them. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Peter. Oh yeah, thank you for your take. I still wait for your comment. Write the comment section concerning this, because coalition holds a memorial for answers victims in Abuja, demand release of detained protesters, implementation of panel report. This is coming right from Blessed Be World. Let me have your take right at the comment section. Remember to continue to follow us and send in your take for more updates. Subscribe. Thanks and God bless.